Hey folks, what's up? This is Michael once again in the wee hours of the dead of night on the graveyard shift with your daily trivia question. I can see everybody, including myself, has come back to work for this Thursday, so apparently none of us hit the lottery. So that's a good thing. We're still working. Oh my goodness. Hope your week is good. And we got over the hump day, so we're well on our way to wrapping this week up. So the answer to the previous trivia question, without any further ado, was the National Rifle Association. Did you pick up on those hints, folks? I played Janie's Got a Gun by Aerosmith, right? I put the word marksmanship and association in the clue. So there you go. It was National Rifle Association, NRA, a powerhouse lobbyist, folks, without question, is certainly one way to describe. Now, with the initial goal, as was stated in the trivia question, to promote and encourage rifle shooting on a scientific basis, is what was described, and dismayed by the lack of marksmanship shown by their troops, which again was part of the trivia question, Union veteran officers William Church and George Wingate formed the National Rifle Association in 1871 and were granted an official charter to do so on November 17th of that year. Inaugural members of the NRA quickly named Civil War General Ambrose Burnside. That was the guy with the hairy hair growth on his cheeks, right? Burnside, the association's very first president. Did not know that. Have heard of Burnside before, but did not know that he served as the NRA's first president back in the late 1870s. Political and social opposition to the NRA began almost immediately. Make no mistake about it. So by the time of the turn of the century, the NRA took a special and savvy interest in promoting shooting sports among America's youth. And this was a foundation with the NRA and has stayed with them to this day. The establishment of so-called rifle clubs at major colleges, universities, and military academies became constant and the norm. This focus on the youth would become, like I was saying before, a cornerstone of the NRA. Camp Perry in Ohio, which is a huge rifle range. They have a website if you want to check it out. It still exists today. Became home of the national matches and publication of their very own magazine called the American Rifleman soon followed. So skip a little further down the line here. 1934, in response to repeated attacks on the Second Amendment rights, which were always and a constant, NRA formed the Legislative Affairs Division and began mailing out legislative reports and analysis to members, whereby they could take action on their own. And I mentioned this factoid in the 1930s for a very significant reason. This was a definite prerequisite to what the NRA has become well known for, which is lobbying. Remember, this is the 1930s, right? We came out of 1929 stock market, went straight into depression. So a lot of people, this resonated. It hit a nerve with a lot of people. Something they could appeal to, an association they could join that was based on on amendments to the Constitution, right? So it appealed to a lot of people. So they really cranked up the publication type of an aspect. The NRA did. Skip to post-World War II into the 1940s, and it was at this time when the NRA turned to a market they realized that could attract a new set of numbers. There was a niche and a marketing aspect out there for them, and they realized that in big, huge numbers, and they could market themselves accordingly. And I'm talking about the hunting community, right? Hunting was big back in the day. And an additional publication called The American Hunter would soon follow. And yet another one after that called The American Guardian would come next. And this became one of the NRA's specialities, was these publications. Right? Publications to spread news of the NRA would become a mainstay of the association, which still exists today. And eventually, the NRA Foundation was established, provided a means to raise millions of dollars to fund gun safety. That's the NRA Foundation, and educational projects and to benefit the general public. These donations that could be made or would be made were tax exempt, so that was an appeal as well. And they really began taking in money, folks. Became a money making machine. The NRA did. Next on the list after that of course, was lobbying, something that the NRA is well known for, and they back their stuff up with a ton of money. The Institute for Legislative Action, the lobbying branch of the NRA, was established in 1975, followed by multiple political action committees, and I do mean multiple, like the NRA Political Victory Fund, the Firearms Civil Rights Legal Defense Fund. This, along with kind of a resurrection of sorts in the 1970s of Second Amendment rights, really marked the beginning of NRA as a huge, huge, huge lobbying force for gun rights. It's been said by one political analyst, check this out, quote, "Let me make one small vote for the NRA. They're good citizens. They call their congressmen. They write, they vote, they contribute, and they get what they want over time." Let me say that again. They get what they want over time. That's George Stephanopoulos who said that from the Clinton administration. I think he's on one of the morning talk shows now. But if George Stephanopoulos is saying that about the NRA, you know something. You know that they know what they're doing, right? Put that into perspective. And they have, like I said, they have tons and tons and tons of money to back it up. Some people have even said that the NRA has a stranglehold on Washington, and some have gone as far as to say that the NRA just flat out runs Washington, quite frankly. They do give a lot of money away. That is for certain. The rise in gun violence in the United States and an overwhelming call for gun control laws has obviously made the NRA a target, basically, even more so today, basically, each time there is a mass shooting now. And that's probably never going to change. And what's probably also never going to change is the NRA's presence in Washington and how much of a, like I've documented in this trivia question narrative, how much of a huge lobbyist that they certainly are. All right, folks, get those lottery tickets back out. Let's see if somebody can hit the lottery tonight. And if it's you and you're one of my friends or one of my listeners, don't forget about me. All right, we'll retire together. Anyways, in the meantime, let's have another trivia question for today. For tomorrow, rather. I'm just basically baffled and confused. For November 18th, on this day in 1902, a Brooklyn, New York shopkeeper named Morris Mitchum and his wife Rose stuffed together a fabric version of this in honor of America's 26th president, which would go on to become one of the world's most beloved toys. Practically giving it away, folks. Good luck. Thanks for all you do, as always. Peace out.